Franklin County Board of County Commission is now back in session. Next on the agenda will be Superintendent of Public Works, Mr. Howard Neighbors.
Good morning, Commissioner. How y'all doing?
All right.
Morning.
So we got, we still continue on grading roads, cutting right of ways out. And we got some complaints on a lot of limbs and stuff in the ditches. We're gonna be also cleaning all that out. That's from where we went through there with our machine, and the power line company also got pieces of limbs and stuff in your ditches, which washes up into your pipe during a lot of rain, flooding. So we're gonna be cleaning on it. And we got a pine tree in Lanark, which I talked to Mr. Boat about. Is at a residence, which is on a county right of way. It's by the sidewalk, which the roots and stuff is lifting the sidewalk up, and he's scared it's gonna mess the foundation of his house up. So I'd have to run that by you before. You have to okay it before I can try to find somebody to cut that tree.
So is a motion appropriate to have you?
Just
Evaluate it,
that's
surely,
your district,
please.
yes, sir.
Okay, please do that, and keep me informed about what you find, and I'll write the guy.
Okay, I'll do it. And they got some more complaints on, which is state now, it ain't nothing to do with the county, but I'm getting a lot of calls and people talking to me about it. There's a cluster of pine trees just east of East Point. South side, you got about 20 big pine trees there, real rotten, and it's right beside 98. And a lot of people scared the tree gonna fall in the road at night or something, or fall on the car. I don't know, we could
You contact
call the state or.
Betty.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
So you tell me just call me and do it, Mike?
Yes,
I'm
sir.
sorry. Okay,
Right there.
okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Good.
Buster, there's a lot of them west 98
Yes, sir.
from Buddy Ward Park on further out towards Tilton Road. There's a lot of those trees.
A lot of them
are
dead. I
leaning.
seen them and leaning real bad.
And I
Yeah.
don't know if they're on St. Joe property or on the state right away. I don't know, but it's
Yeah.
becoming an issue. Right now, you got Duke Energy around and about. I talked to Bobby.
Okay.
Bobby. I think about Bobby Pickle, Danny Collins. He was in town Saturday or Friday and had to meet with people around the Cape and all
Yeah.
about taking trees down around the distribution lines, and some of those are on private property, but they got to get them down or it's going to knock the power out.
Yeah.
So this is an ongoing issue since Hurricane
Okay.
Michael. But
Yeah.
I, like you, and remember when the tree fell over on the other side of Lanark Village, fell on them people and killed
We
them.
was coming from Tallahassee, killed a man and his son. The
Yeah,
pine tree
and
fell on.
there's a lot of this out to the west too, so when you
Exactly.
call him, have him evaluate not only the East Point area,
Okay.
between East Point and Carabel, but he needs to.
But you got storm season come up, and them big pine trees like that, they'll fall on one of the prettiest, calmest days. It'll fall.
Yeah, because they're rotten.
Yeah, exactly.
And
So
they're-
they need to be cut. So,
But we need to do our part as a county commissioner to let the state know that
Okay.
we got issues with these trees, so
okay.
if somebody gets hurt, we don't wanna be to blame for not taking
Exactly.
appropriate action as a commission to try to,
In which people brought it to me, and that's why I brought it
yeah.
to the board.
And when they do that, there's nothing done, then they wanna go back and say, well, I told the county
Yes.
supervisor, or I told the county
Yeah,
commission, but nothing's ever done, so we need to make sure the state's aware of these issues.
There's one west of the lighthouse, that tree is hanging over, you seen it?
Real bad. Yeah.
I've called him 2 or 3 times, he hadn't, see if you can call him, get him to cut it. It's way over the road.
Okay.
On 98 too?
Yeah, right this west of the lighthouse.
Tell them to check the whole county.
Yeah.
It's all the trees is dead on the right of way need to be cut, definitely. Whether they get contractors or however they do it, that's a big safety issue, so it can be dealt with.
We might need to how about put that in a form of motion, that way the board will be.
Okay.
So move.
Yeah. I got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Parrish, second by Commissioner Matthew Jones. Discussion.
Can I
That way-
make an amendment to that motion, potentially?
Yeah.
I'd also like the state to be conscious of the debris piles that are accumulating along 98.
Okay.
I particularly see them in Lanark Village going east. And I've even noticed private property owners cleaning those debris piles up after this long wait. So can we add that as well?
Okay.
I'll amend my motion.
Okay, thank you.
The first and second been amended. That way, you know, if the board contact him, he'll know it. If you contact him, he might just brush it off, but
Yes, sir.
the board.
There you go.
At least we'll have it documented.
Cover us, you know, at least, you know, try it, so, yeah.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That passed unanimous.
Thank you. Good.
And at the pit out there that we was talking about, where they gonna pump the channel, I'll look at that, today we get started on that pretty quick, try to, cause it'll take a while to get all that stuff out of there,
Yeah.
so. We get started on that, yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I have something, Mr.
Go
Mayor,
ahead.
if that's okay.
Go ahead.
I did talk to him, just so you guys know, I've talked to Mr. Howard today about addressing with some special assistance the problem we have with the road on West Bay Shore on the island, in front of the Blue Store. It's on. Yeah. And it's just dead then, because it's on. Nope, there you go. In front of the Blue Store on the island, that pavement's just really bad. It's been bad for a long time. I really wanted to just pave that road, but there's a lot of hindrances to that because of how wide the right-of-way is going through there over time. So as he's looking at that, I will be getting together some figures to bring back to this board to possibly use monies out of our road maintenance fund to address at least part of that road to get it where it's passable without
It is.
the way it is currently.
Yeah, we've been patching that road, and we have to get the patch stuff on the east to put in it, and the road just deteriorated a shot. But it cost us about $300 for material every time we had to go patch that, so it just fell all to pieces.
Is it asphalt road?
It's asphalt, right in front of Area 8, yeah. Yeah,
Bags of asphalt's about $30.
yeah, it's expensive, that's what,
When is
But-
when the next paving project supposed to start?
We're still a little while out.
Not if we bring it in.
We,
How long we got, Mike? What we looking at?
What's the balance right now, you know, off the top of your head?
I don't have it off the top of my head. It seems like we were at about, I wanna say about 300,000 per commissioner. Yeah, it wasn't a whole lot of funds that we had available.
300?
yeah, could it be addressed and take some of the road paving money from Ricky's district while we doing this access road at the airport? And while we have the Roberts and Roberts
Yeah.
in town, that they make it address
I'm
that?
fine with that.
By March or April, probably they can get it done for you for the upcoming
That'd be
spring
good.
season, I'm
Saving
saying.
mobilization.
And you're saving mobilization
Yeah.
costs.
There you go.
Because they're already in the county.
I'm good with that.
So let's
Put it in motion.
Want me to contact Robertson Roberts?
put that in form.
Yes, I'll make a motion to contact Robertson Roberts about adding that to what they're gonna do when they're here.
Well, there may be two, I'll second
I
it.
got-
Is there maybe 2 blocks or something, 3 blocks? that
It's,
really
it's
need-
just a block or so.
About a
but I'm-
block.
Yeah, I mean, I'll get
But
that
it's
done.
really bad.
To save that mobilization and
Yeah.
everything, I think that's the way to utilize
but
it.
the road got so bad, we got two choices, dig it up, and build asphalt it, or dig it up and line rock it, I mean,
You just have to come in there and pave it.
that'd work.
Got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Jones, second by Commissioner Parrish. Any more discussion on that?
I think they're supposed to start on our access road within the next 20 days or something. So
They
this,
are working on it because they've already contacted the landfill about tipping fees.
yeah, so that's what I was told maybe a week
The
ago.
contract prices, the contract time is 6 months, so yeah, so at the end, I mean, they'll have somebody in here, I don't know about paving by March, but maybe they will.
Okay.
Well, and if anybody else got a road in that's public safety, it's hurting the public safety, you know, y'all need to check, get them to do that too.
Do we have money enough to be able to do this in the fund? And
They're coming out of, she said
Okay,
we
well-
had about 300,000
Yeah,
apiece,
yeah,
so it's gonna come out of,
330, I
if he doesn't have, if it's more than 300,000, we'll mix our money toward him then?
no, it's coming out of his money.
I understand. Okay. But sometimes I think there are greater needs, but I know what you're saying.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
It's coming out of his, each one of us get that money.
Okay.
I think you told me 330, Miss Aaron, what you
Yeah,
told me.
yeah,
was-
it's somewhere right around there.
Yeah.
300, 330, somewhere right there.
Which is not a lot per
No.
district, but.
That's right.
Yeah.
But while we got these people in town to address
That's a good
this
idea.
issue, Commissioner Jones has, I think, the appropriate thing to do.
It is. We don't wanna see nobody get hurt behind no accident waiting to happen.
Yes.
Okay, we ain't voted.
Not yet, no, sir.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That passed unanimous.
And that's all I got.
Anybody got anything else for Mr.
Thank you.
Howard?
Howard, until they get here, keep that thing filled.
I will,
with asphalt
we'll
as much
work
as
on that
possible.
tomorrow. We got a bunch of rain coming tomorrow evening, Thursday. We'll try to get on that first thing in the morning, get them,
Thank you.
them holes
Okay.
fixed.
Keep up the good work.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Y'all have a good
Appreciate
one.
you.
Next on the agenda will be Mr. Fonda Davis. Solid Waste Director.
All right. Good morning, Commissioner.
Good morning.
I do not have any action item, but what I do have is to inform you a couple of things that's going on with the Park and Recreation Department. One is that the tennis court on St. George Island will be under repairs starting the 15th of this month. So if you get any calls of why it's shut down, that'll be the reason. Also, I want to inform you about some vehicle issues that we're having. The oldest vehicles are 2001, and the newest is a 2009. We have 5 vehicles. A couple of them was vandalized back a few months ago, and you all know we sent it to the dealership. And it come back, it's not right. It's a safety issue. The steering column is locking up on the driver. So we have it in the shop now. Our mechanics is saying that they no longer make the part that fix it. So, but we still searching. I would like to, you know, I know I couldn't right now, but for y'all to consider me purchasing more trucks. So if you would, just think about that.
You ain't got the money in your budget for none right now?
No, sir.
With FEMA money coming, you have?
FEMA money. I don't know if we have it, can spend it on trucks. That part of it is vehicles.
Yeah, but nobody don't need to be driving them things.
That's correct, Commissioner. You know, we use a regular standard size pickup truck to haul equipment like our small tractors. That's, you know, that's something we need to think about also. But if y'all would just think about that for me, please, and come up to the next board meeting or something.
Aaron, a year or so ago, you taught me that, that leasing sometimes helps our staff expand their budget and have more utilization within their budget. And we've had some experience with Howard leasing some dump trucks.
Yes.
How do we translate that to potentially serving a problem here? And I realize leasing versus buying and all the economic issues of that. How could we help Fonda there?
It works out very well for large pieces of equipment, especially like the dump trucks, because we don't have the repair and maintenance, you know, the recurring expense that way. So, you know, Howard is able to get 2 brand new dump trucks each and every single year with the rolling lease program with Capital Truck. With Fonda's equipment, he typically uses his equipment. It's such a heavy duty application with it being, you know, the solid waste or even Parks and Recreation. Leasing for his vehicles, when we typically do that, we lease to own. And then we also have them in service for quite a while, you know, even after the payoff occurs. Now, one thing that we could think about doing this year during the budget cycle is to actually do the capital outlay kind of installment purchase arrangement that we've been doing, where basically he makes payments out of his budget into the capital outlay fund, and we kind of have a rolling mechanism for getting him new trucks in that fashion. But beyond that, another source would be when his, you will be receiving some equipment funds from FEMA. Whenever that comes in, we don't know how much it's going to be, but that could be used because it's not anticipated. We're not sure what he's going to end up with yet. So hopefully that's our best bet.
I think that's what, Mr. Chairman, I think that's what somebody was asking earlier. It might have been the chairman about FEMA funds.
Yeah.
You know, what we're looking at coming in.
Yeah.
'Cause that's pretty big budget expense when you're talking about 4 or 5 trucks at one time. That's, that's a big hit, so. My suggestion would be to start looking at some stuff on and get some numbers up, so when this money, if this money comes in and when it comes in, we're prepared to move.
Okay.
Is that something you could do?
Yes.
You know, just kind of get an idea of what the cost is gonna be and which ones you need to replace right now and which ones we could replace later, or how all that works out, and come back.
Okay,
And give us, give us some information at least, if not in report, give us the information, so when we do get some unanticipated revenue, maybe we could help you with that.
The sheriff business list is a very good place to look. We save a lot of money.
The sheriff.
Part of their sheriff business.
Yeah.
Right,
We're
okay.
part of that, so we get a good deal there.
I have something for Mr. Davis.
Go ahead.
Fonda, the packet you gave this morning about the incinerator?
Yes,
Is
sir.
that something you want to bring up in the next meeting so we can try to consider what to do to help you, or what are we doing with that?
Yes, I left it for you all to look over,
Okay.
and I do plan to bring it up at next
Okay.
board meeting.
Michael, could you make sure that's in our next agenda packet, please?
Yeah, he'll probably have, yes, he'll have his agenda,
Okay.
his
Yeah.
report.
Thank you.
So, yes.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
while Fonda's here, Erin needed to bring up something that,
Okay.
it'll be my report, but she's found out something this morning.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we actually
go
did
ahead.
receive from the Florida Department of Environmental Protection for Fonda's Consolidated Solid Waste Grant, we did receive an amendment, where they've actually increased the grant award by $5,172.70. So this amendment will increase that, and then that will actually, help to offset his fuel expense this year. So that's what those additional funds will be used for, but, we do need a motion from the board for the chairman to be able to sign the amendment.
So moved.
Got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Massey,
Second.
second by Commissioner Parrish. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That passes unanimous.
And the last thing I have for you all is that the recycling bins, that they're in pretty bad shape also. Just over the years, it rusting close to the salt air here. You may notice in your bills that we've been repairing them off and on, trying to bring them back up to code.
How many of those total do we have, Fonda?
Who?
Do you even know?
No,
20, 30?
I would say yes, at
Okay.
least 30.
Okay.
It's between your cardboard and your recycling.
Right.
That's,
Okay.
that's correct.
Fonda,
And
can
the
we,
material that they're made out of is not like you will have your average construction bin.
Right.
So, they're thin stuff.
Right.
What day you look up run a piece? You know?
How
You
much
got
are-
you got a guesstimate of what one of them, how much they cost a piece?
To repair or new?
New or repair?
New, they run from 7 to 10,000 a piece. And we have some repair, and it run pretty much to close, putting heavier gauge
Have a gauge deal on?
steel. Yes, sir.
You
So,
got 30 of them, so that's $300,000 to replace them.
about half of that 30, I would say, is in real bad shape. You're losing your recycled material down the road.
Fonda, do you think it's appropriate to think that we can extend the life of one of these recycling bins if we begin to progressively deploy them into mobile recycling units, and where we have control over what goes in and goes out, and maybe we have 2 or 3 units that we test with regard to that?
Yes,
Can we
I
do
do.
something like that and maybe exchange some of this money to mobile?
that's correct.
So how would we help you think that?
We can go to the mobile units, and also where another 2 trucks, their recycling trucks is old. They wearing out. We constantly putting money. I mentioned this to you all before. You can buy pickup trucks, half of what you can buy your recycle. So you can buy 2 pickup trucks for 1 recycle truck. You can buy several mobile units for what you can buy maybe 3 roll-offs, what we have now. So yes, a tremendous saving going to the mobile unit.
Mobile unit.
Yeah, it would be a tremendous saving.
Did any commissioners have any thoughts about the history of mobile units and what the potential success would be in our county?
I don't think we've ever had any mobile units before.
We never had one before, huh?
I don't think.
Mr. Chairman, when you say a mobile unit, you drop them off in the morning and pick them up in the evening? Making them mobile, is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir. You could do that, or either you could find a location that someone like I'm just say for Alligator Point, they was considering doing it at the fire station. Somebody would volunteer to pull that container out, let the public use it certain hours of the day. They would put it back in. Once it get full, we would go pull it, bring it in, dump it, and bring it, carry it back.
So you got to be partnered with somebody.
Yes.
Okay.
But there ain't many people got fireplaces, firehouses, they gonna let you roll these mobiles in and pull them back out. And I don't know what size they are and what problem it is rolling them in, rolling them out.
Right.
Recycling has been an issue for a number of years. People, I pulled up to one the other night and there was a cardboard container, this was during the holiday, had some cardboard, so I went by there to put it out in the cardboard container. Those people dumpster diving in the paper, plastic, and aluminum can at 10 o'clock at night.
Right.
So they go in there and they dumpster dive and get the aluminum cans and everything that's valuable and leave the county with nothing that you, in other words, you can make money on aluminum cans, but you don't make no money on plastic and all
That's
the
correct.
others. So I mean, it's a huge issue with people not respecting what the dumpster is there for. I noticed the other day out by the ball field where you got the carcass container, there's 3 or 4 carcasses laying outside the container. I guess they was too lazy to pull up there and put it inside the carcass container.
Right.
There was a big eagle sitting there eating on it.
Yeah.
And I get a lot of complaints from people around the ball field that this stuff is thrown on the ground and you got all the buzzards and the coyotes and all that and the kids right across the street at the baseball field. So I mean, it's people not utilizing what you try to put out there with all good intentions, but they just don't, you know.
Right.
And it'd take 10,000 containers for the things the county's trying to do good for the community, to put a camera on all these different sites and the boat ramps and, you know, it's just,
Right.
you try to deliver good services to the people, but some people just don't respect what you're trying to do. And it's kind of like getting down to the gun situation. You know, everybody wants to take your guns, but they're taking all the guns from the law-abiding citizens, and the only ones that got the guns is criminals. I mean, why? So how do you work all this out and not make everybody pay for somebody's transgressions? Very few, but you have a few, but everybody else be following the rules and doing everything they're supposed to do. So it's always an issue trying to provide good services for the people and then have the total public buy in and utilizing the different stuff the way they should.
So
And
mobile
recycling's the
recycling.
same way.
Right.
Household garbage thrown in cardboard containers, and then the staff has to go through all that when he pulls it back into the yard and separate all that.
Right.
So I don't know what the answer to is for some of these issues.
Supervised
But there's a lot
mobile
of
recycling, where you begin to segregate a nice pure product right there on site and not have all the dysfunction that you've just mentioned. Why don't we try a few of those? They're trailer pulled, aren't they? From what, don't you pull the mobile recycling
That's
unit with it?
correct, yeah.
Yeah.
You making that?
I'll make that a motion, sure. Would you recommend, Fonda, what, 3 or 4 units to begin with?
Yes.
Okay, let's make 4 units, and that way you'll have an even number, and then a schedule on where they'll be deployed,
Well, you got to partner with somebody first.
and the funding would be within your budget. I believe we're exchanging, you've got some equipment.
So that's next budget cycle, right? Or you talking about?
Well, let's see, I need help on that, I don't know. You help me. You don't have it in this budget cycle right now?
No.
Okay, so why don't we really plan on it for next budget cycle?
Okay.
And start to talk with the public about it, and we'll have good planning time for it.
Gotta
Okay.
get someone to help you pull them dumpsters and put them back and forth every day.
Well, these are
I know
another,
they're mobile,
another
but
model.
somebody's gotta put them in at night and bring them out.
Okay. I see.
How much is this stuff? How much is one single unit?
The single unit, I want to say they quoted me 10,000 on
And that's less expensive than a formal dumpster. That I understand.
Sound like it was more to me. Didn't say a dumpster was 7,000?
7 to 10.
How about we, I get Fonda to bring some information to the board, we have a presentation about exactly what it is.
Right.
How much we need a partnership,
Okay.
how big the dumpsters are, how long, you know, how quickly they'll fill up. I think the board needs more information on that before we decide, you know, what to do. How about we do it that way? That works?
And Mr.
Yes.
Davis?
Okay?
Work for me.
We gather some information, you and I can sit down, gather some information, put a presentation there, or we'll talk about it.
That'd be good.
Yeah, because I don't want to be obligated to nothing if I don't know what it's going to cost and where the money's going to come from.
Yeah, that's tough right there.
I mean, that's kind of what I told the school board earlier.
Okay.
I gotta know what I'm spending before I obligate myself to spend it.
Okay.
And where it's coming from.
Yes, sir. What happens with the partner that the chairman is talking about? Suppose the partner doesn't pull it in or leaves it out or something. Who's liable at that point? You see, I just like a better understanding.
Yeah, in that case, we already pulling them, so, you know, that won't be a big problem there, but, yeah. Okay, we'll do that.
Okay, so you rescind your motion?
I rescind motion, will stand by. Thank you.
Okay,
Presentation together for the board.
Good.
okay, yeah,
All righty.
That's good.
all right. That's it?
Anybody got anything else?
You just need us,
Mr.
anything you need to tell us about studying this incinerator proposal?
You want me to go into it, or
Just,
just?
we'll study it and you go into it next meeting?
Yes.
All right.
Please.
Yeah, give us time to look it over and we'll.
Okay,
Thank
all
you,
right.
Fonzie.
Great,
We
thank
just
y'all.
got it today, right?
Yep.
Yeah. We'll take it up next.
Okay, all right, appreciate it.
Okay, keep up the good work. Next on the agenda will be Miss Pam Bernays.
She's down south somewhere, her entire staff attending some emergency management conference.
Right.
Okay,
Correct.
good.
So,
I'm in those.
good because she's learning, right?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it in a bad way.
Michael, if you would.
Gotta catch me up.
Communicate
Next
to
on
her
the-
about this, that I'm glad that she did this chart the way she did it with the locations. It's in our packet.
The attachment.
Yes. Tell her thank you.
I will.
Sorry about that, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Well, next on the agenda will be, Mr. Extension Office Director, Mr. Eric Lovestrain.
Morning, Commissioners. I don't have any action items for you this morning, but I did want to let you know that we had a real good showing of our youth who went up and attended our 4-H Day at the Capitol event last week. There were about 1,000 green shirts walking around the Capitol compounds on that day, and we actually got to meet with our local representative, Jason Schoaf, and spent some time with him. And they got to sit in on some legislative sessions where he was presenting bills, actually, and saw how the process works. So it was a good opportunity for our youth to really kind of engage and learn a little bit more about how our state government works. So the next thing coming up is their teen retreat that we'll be sending youth to from the county too. So they're engaging with other 4-H'ers from all around our Northwest District on that. So active couple of clubs and constant things going on with 4-H.
Good.
Okay,
Thank you.
That's
thank you
all
for
I have.
that. Anybody else got anything for Mr. Lovestrain?
Oh, I'm sorry, one more thing I could mention. Friday is our Tropicana Public Speaking county level competition event that will be taking place actually at our new location down at the Mill Pond. So we have kids that have competed at the school level, and the top 3 positions from each of the 2 different grade levels at the 3 different schools in the county will be there with parents and people who come to watch them, and you are welcome to attend if you're interested in doing that. It will begin at 10 a.m. We'll be down there at 261 Dr. Frederick S. Humphrey Street at the old DEP headquarters where we are now. And we're still not open officially to the public. Still working on internet and phone and putting together cabinets and some wiring and just basic things to get the facility ready to open when we get there.
Thank you, Mr. Eric.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nick.
Keep up the good work.
Mr. Chairman, can I just make an update or something on that?
Go
So
ahead.
during the break, I went and called Senator Scott's office and spoke to Sierra Anderson, his aide, who I've spoken to before about Alligator Point, and she suggested that we give FEMA a week before the senators get involved, because this just happened yesterday, and so give FEMA time to respond before they get involved. So I want to tell you that I did speak to Senator Scott's aide just now.
Good, thank you.
Thank you. Next on the agenda will be Ms. Whitney Roundtree, Library Assistant.
Commissioners, this is Ms. Roundtree's first report to the board. I promised her that the board doesn't bite, and on most days, and so she's here to give you guys her first report. And I have one of my items on my report after Ms. Roundtree finishes with her report.
She can do it, she's doing good.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm grateful to take this opportunity to introduce myself to the board and to the public. My name is Whitney Roundtree. I've been a library assistant at the Franklin County Public Library for 3 years. I just wanted to assure the board that the library is doing well. Library usage is up and our calendars are packed with events for all ages. We offer many adult classes ranging from gardening to computer instruction. The new Zumba class in Carabel is doing very well. It's a big hit. Attendance count was in the 40s before the end of January. AARP will also be offering free tax aid at both branches on Thursdays through April 9th. So if anybody needs assistance with filing, I encourage you to come to the library. For little ones, we have crafted events centered around the promotion of literacy and learning, with story time and STEAM classes offered at both branches. Music as a second language has kicked off. This year we were able to provide free music lessons to 19 students in our community. We offer lessons at both branches and Cap Point Music in East Point. The recital date is to be announced, but I hope that everyone on the board can be in attendance. Event calendars are available at either branch on our website or on Facebook. And I just want to let everyone know that the Franklin County Public Library staff is working hard and is dedicated to bringing events, workshops, and resources to Franklin County and its residents. Any questions for me?
Yeah, what kind of music do y'all do?
What it is, it's a program, it's 20 weeks, where it's with a partnership with Rock by the Sea, where they provide the instruments, and we also work with the Friends of the Franklin County Public Library to pay the teachers, so it's no cost to the students or the parents. We offer piano, guitar, ukulele, voice, and drums.
That's good.
And at the end of the program, if they stick it out, they get to keep their instrument.
That's a good thing.
Even the drums? Really good.
Yeah, we give them little snare drums. Mm-hmm.
They should come and kick off one of our commission meetings some morning.
Yeah, yeah.
Wouldn't that be neat?
Drum Day's fun. It sounds like we're going to war almost.
That's good.
Parade from one street right in here.
Mr. Chairman.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah,
Whitney,
go ahead.
thank you very much for all this stuff, and I also want to thank you. I understand I wasn't there, but I knew about it. East Point, we're kind of limited in what we have, and I understand yesterday that the East Point Civic Association met with someone, and they used the facilities at the library to have that meeting. So thank you for that, because, you know, we're a small place, so everything we can do matters, and I want to thank you for your help in that.
Thank you.
Anybody else got anything for Ms. Whitney? Well,
Welcome aboard.
Thank
Welcome
you.
aboard.
Thank you.
Page 5, Commissioners, my report is item 10, page 5.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That's fine, okay, we're good. At your last meeting, the board agreed to temporarily change the setup of Ms. Whitney Roundtree to the library assistant supervisor. Ms. Roundtree has been doing a very good job in her new role. However, that change left a gap in staff coverage at both branches. Both branches are about to face their spring busy season with the snowbirds and many programs, like music as a second language and others listed on her report. To provide adequate coverage at both branches, I would like the board to consider authorizing a temporary part-time position that would last from 3 to 6 months. This would allow Ms. Roundtree time to manage both branches and not have to spend too much time filling in where staff is needed. I've discussed this request with finance and funding is available. I just need board action to authorize a library assistant temporary part-time worker for up to 6 months.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Jones, second by Commissioner Massey. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Sir.
The funding is available in their budget, right?
Yes,
Okay.
that's why I checked with finance. Funding is,
Okay.
I should have said their
I see you got it here,
budget.
you said
Yeah,
funding is available, I just want to know where the
I
funding
should
was
have said
coming
from their budget, yes, sir.
Okay.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Pass unanimous.
Thank you, Commissioners. Thank you.
Good.
All right. We were at library system.
Almost through.
Next on the agenda will be ARPC, Mr. Josh Adams. Franklin 98 project update.
Okay, sounds good. So you have Josh Adams with the ARPC. Thank y'all, commissioners, for having us here this morning. So we're just going to provide a brief update on the Franklin 98 project that we've been working on. I've got a brief presentation to give y'all. It corresponds to the public meeting at the ANR that we'll be having tonight at 6 o'clock. And yeah, I would encourage you, as you have questions, if they come up, go ahead and ask them, and I'll answer them the best I can. And we've been working with E&E, so I have Rick Harder with me, and whatever I can't answer, maybe he can, and get y'all caught up on the project to date.
Mr. Chairman, we're waiting. Can I ask a question?
Perfect.
Yeah, go ahead.
Josh?
Yes, sir.
Before you get started, can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
He got it quicker than I thought he would. So how many meetings have you had so far, public or intergovernmental?
So we've had 5 public meetings to date. Tonight will be 6, and then we've had 3 interagency meetings, and we've been holding off on the last one till we've had the materials in, and that will be coming up in maybe late March, early April.
I knew it was several. I just want to make sure the rest of the public knew and could. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Okay, yep, so get started. So this is the Franklin 98 project, and out of our community meetings, we've come up with this graphic up here, the Franklin 98, and a slogan, a tagline, protecting community, conserving the coast. This is the agenda for tonight, but just so y'all are familiar, we've had, in addition to the advertised public meetings, we've also met with groups like the East Point Civic Association to keep community members up to date. So here's a map of our focus area. On the bottom left side, you'll see that's East Point, and it runs all the way up to about Carabel Beach. It's about 12 miles long, and we've reached out to approximately 350 property owners in the form of direct mailers, and also we've had numerous opportunities to post flyers in and around town. So it's mainly armored, mostly unvegetated, a few patches of marsh, and that gives us evidence that if under the right conditions, that marsh could succeed in the area. So right now, this is what we're dealing with, a lot of repetitive loss and erosion issues, and we're thinking that the project, about to explain a little bit more, can help with some of this. We're not going to say that there's not going to be any need for seawalls in the future or riprap, but that we can definitely add another layer of protection to help the roadway from washing out as severely as it does. So this is kind of the spectrum of soft armoring or no armoring, vegetation only, to revetments and bulkheads. On the right, that's what's common now. We would like to see maybe something with a little bit more vegetated breakwaters. So offshore, hard reef reduces wave energy. It allows for marsh to become established behind that hard bottom reef. Helps with erosion. The plants lock sediment in place, so during the year it generally grows, and then when there's a storm, it helps add another layer. It's also good for the local ecology. So this would provide nursery habitat for juvenile fish species. Here's an example of a habitat in Pensacola. This is Project Green Shores. Offshore, you see those smallest structures out in the water. Those are the breakwaters, and then behind it, there's different species, black needle rush and spartina. So those are that's the fringe marsh. When we say the establishment of marsh, that could be what it looks like. No definitive designs yet. We're still in the outreach phase that runs through April.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
Will this, I don't know if that's big enough to, will that help over there by Alligator Point?
So Alligator Point, We were actually just, I believe the county submitted a request for funding to do a study, alternatives analysis at Alligator Point. The ARPC is going to work on that, but short answer is probably a different type of environment for these particular species. However, if we looked at maybe some dune restoration, more your upland plants, it might have a fit there, but this would be a little bit different of an environment for this to become established.
The reason I was asking, because they don't have, like they said, the moment, they ain't got nothing.
That's right.
That's right.
Go ahead, I'm sorry, go ahead. Thank you.
So currently, we're all the funding is taking place for this project under an FDEP grant. Stakeholder engagement meetings, so those have been well attended. About 20 to I think we've most about 30 people, and like I mentioned earlier, the last public meeting is tonight, 6 o'clock at Ann Air. We've done a background investigation study.
About that.
So we just we're looking for the best publicly available data, so we're not repeating anything twice. We've looked at some different reports provided by FDOT to see where the road's frequently washing out. We looked at existing seagrass beds because we want to be sure not to negatively impact those. That will feed into suitability analysis. That's a little more of the engineering, looking at sediment and transport down along that stretch of coastline. That will help feed that. We did a seagrass mapping exercise, but we're going to have to. It was all the imagery that we used was pre-Michael. A lot of things have changed, so out of that we recognize that we need to fly more imagery sorties and to better inform this coastal condition analysis also later on. So this is the pilot experiment. So we went out and about, and I've got some material here for y'all to look at. That's what is in the top right corner. So these pallets, we had a gentleman from North Carolina. They've been working on these products. You mind if I come up and get stuff?
Go ahead.
So you might have also seen these stuck in and around the ground. So this is just jute fiber that's been cemented, and it's biodegradable in the sense that the concrete just breaks down, and the jute fiber is just like burlap sack. It just dissolves in the water, and it doesn't leave any nasty chemicals. So that's on the top right. Now we check to make sure that, so we've got a oyster spat line here along this seawall, so that gave us evidence that under the right conditions, spat will aggregate, and we're thinking that we establish a reef with different types of materials. This is one of them. The others are crushed or used oyster shell, lime rock, or granite. So we have some test plots out there right now. They're installed over the last few weeks. So we're going to see what sort of organisms will grow on them, and that would be the establishment of the hard bottom breakwater. These are what they look like. So these are placed near shore, and the idea is we've got, you'll notice some black crates, some milk crates, and those just hold the loose shell or rock around. If it were a bigger application, it might have some sort of binding material, but just to keep them in place, that's what they look like. And then we have some a little bit further out, so these we would consider intertidal, because they're exposed at low tides. And then offshore, we have some subtidal where they're just barely above the water level. So we're testing two different configurations of those. We also have more densely populated, these are called oyster catcher materials, and more sparsely spaced ones, so that we can test a little bit of variation in how they're lining up. We've applied for 2 additional grant funding opportunities. They're both from the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation, that's NIFWF. We're hoping to hear back from them on funding maybe late March or April. And those would take us through, if appropriate, we're looking at design and then eventual construction and implementation of the project. And we're thinking that it might run perhaps 3.5 years to get it all done. And we're not thinking like a full stretch 12 miles of coastline. That would be way too much. But where it makes sense and where we've had good public feedback, we establish them. And one of the goals that we wrote in our NIFWIF application would be the establishment of 30 acres of hard bottom and 20 acres of fringe marsh.
Nah,
Go ahead.
what y'all do about if they gonna catch the oysters, right?
So that is one of the ideas, that yes, these would collect oyster spat, they'd adhere to this, and then they would begin to form the reef structure.
Yeah, but what y'all gonna do about it if they polluted and people eat them?
So we have looked into that, possible institutional controls, maybe have a maybe a no harvest zone. I believe that where these are proposed to be located already, there are already no harvest zones.
Sure, let me help answer that too. So Rick Harder with Ecology and Environment. There's a couple of different ways to deal with it. Some of the area is outside of approved harvest areas now, so that wouldn't be an issue because it's already not okay to collect there. Other areas that are within approved areas, they're not currently harvested because it's sand bottom, there's nothing there. In other locations, for example, in St. Andrew Bay, West Bay, FWC is doing a similar project, and also in Pensacola Bay, the Nature Conservancy is doing a similar project. And in both of those cases, they created an area where it's no harvest for the purpose of restoration, with the hopes that by creating those reefs, you'll create some sanctuary reefs that will provide additional larvae to help populate those reefs that are harvested.
But you're gonna have good signage out there so people won't mess with it, right?
Yeah. Certainly, that's a big a major tool that could be used, and the key there is getting the right amount of signage. You don't want to have too much signage, and then people hate the signage. But you do want to have enough to educate people and make it clear what's authorized and what's not.
And Josh and Rick, have you identified with FDOT the chronic areas of erosion that occur in this 12-mile area relative to the road damage, where you see specific target every time that road gets damaged? Can you prioritize a location there, and do you have that ability to do that?
Perhaps, and then, but also we just know in speaking with FDOT roadway engineers that anytime you see the articulated concrete in particular, so those concrete blocks, that those are going to be the most erosive, and that's why that block is in place. Yes. But we do have other areas too where it looks like between Michael and Dennis you can see some.
That may be a priority site for you then.
Yes, sir.
Which is a great segue.
Yes, so these are some of the public meetings that were conducted. What do you remember about the past? If you build sandcastles there, if you've fished there in the past, if you these day-to-day activities or seasonal activities that you do, we want to be sure not to infringe on those. So give us good information, input, and we'll try to avoid those areas, not impact them, and only where it makes sense is where these things should be. So yes, we do also have received some public comment about where they seem to remember erosion hotspots. And one of the goals of this is to have the reef and marsh in a variety of locations, so that gives you a good mix of habitat, so it's better for the ecology too. So here's where we received this is a map more or less of the areas where blue is where they would like to see something, and there's a lot of dots inland, so that's around the school. It's been hit on a lot that maybe there should be some sort of program involving school children and helping them learn about the project, and then It's kind of like the yellow gold, those are the caution areas. Those have been mainly like where I gig or where I cast net, and I want to be sure that there's lanes for me to keep on doing that. So we've got those out there. And then you have background information, like I went there as a child on a school trip, and these conditions were present. And then so like later tonight, we're gonna use this system here, green dots. Where would you like to see marsh? Where would you like us to see reef? And the next steps for the project, we're going to continue to do our 2 remaining meetings under this DEP grant. We've identified those NIFWITH grant applications, submitted those. We are continuing to look for, as they come up, other funding sources should these fall through. And then continue to be good stewards in the community and let people know exactly what we're doing and where this project might be able to go. And if you have any further, oh, and then I'll also say too that last week we were able to meet with Senator Mumford and Representative Schoaf's liaison to brief them on the project, just so that they're familiar with what's going on too.
I believe what y'all doing is a good thing. You know, they just got some. You can put the signage out there, and they got some clowns that go out there and eat them oysters, knowing they don't supposed to. The first thing they'll do is say, I got them out of Apalachicola Bay. Then that throw the good part down. And they know they done got out the wrong area. But it happened like that.
Is it obvious that you have enough money to see this project through to a conclusion?
That's how we have it structured right now. And with the 2 NIFWITH funding sources in place, if those are approved and are awarded, then we would have enough to, yes, do design, construction, and monitoring.
And, excuse me, Mr. Chairman, those applications have already been processed and sent to NIFWITH, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
They were processed a few weeks before and the week after Thanksgiving.
Okay. I thought that was right, but.
To be clear, they're pending approval.
Right.
So they haven't said they would fund it, but they have asked lots of questions and said they really like it. And the fact that they've asked for the next step beyond the initial pre-proposal for a full proposal is a really good indication.
Good.
Well, you obviously can hear the tenor of the board here. If you need any letters of affirmation, wherever appropriate, I'm sure we can work that.
Thank you, Judge.
Anybody got anything for?
One thing I did want to add, I do want to mention these materials that we're putting out for the pilot test. I want to give special thanks to the Gulf Corps and Ed Corps folks that are working with Franklin's Promise Coalition. They are the ones that help put those materials out, and they're going to be helping to evaluate those and collect some data on which materials are doing better than others. So special thanks to them.
Like a good walking cane. All right, y'all keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming, updating us.
Mr. Chairman, can we take a 5-minute break?
Yeah. We're gonna break right quick. Then we're gonna come back to McKim.